Today we have local Evansville resident Hannah Givens with us to tell us more about her daily transportation struggles. Hannah, how long have you lived in Evansville?
I lived here pretty much my whole life, so about 27 years. Well, I lived in Illinois for a few months, but that's about it. So, yep.
Wow. What do you use for transportation?
I typically take Lyfts or Uber from time to time. I will use my mom's car.
How much do you spend on Uber and Lyft?
So each ride is typically from $8 to $10. So typically it's about $20 a day for 4 to 5 days a week and about $3,200 a year, I'd say. But that's not including the extras like going anywhere else besides work.
That is a crazy amount. What are some of the difficulties of not being able to drive yourself?
So having to set aside money for lifts if I want to go anywhere extra, like the mall or to a friend's house, I just have to keep that extra money in mind. And also not being able to leave exactly when I want to because you have to wait so many minutes for a ride. Like it could take anywhere from 2 minutes to 15 or 20 minutes. So sometimes, like trying to get to places on time, it doesn't work very well.
What would make it easier for you to get to and from work?
I'd probably say getting my own car, but it's not easy because you have to go through the process of getting your license first, then buying the car. It's a lot of work.
Would you say that is the main reason why you don't have a car?
Yeah, I definitely say like being scared of buying a car also because you never know if something's wrong with it. Then you have to turn around and have money as well to fix the problems that's wrong with the car, along with buying the car.
How far is your ride usually? Like, how far do you live away from work?
I live about 6 minutes from work, but outside of work, like the mall's about 12 minutes. So yeah, so going to the mall would probably be typically it's about $14 or $15 just to get there with the lift.
That's crazy for just a short amount.
Yeah.
When you're not working, how do you get around, basically?
Still lifts typically. Like a lot of times, I my mom will take me places if I need to get there urgently. Like I have a doctor that's all the way in Newburgh, which is pretty far. So typically, she takes me if it's like places like that.
Do you walk anywhere?
Sometimes yeah, like I'll walk to the park. I live along North Main, so like I'll walk along North Main, just to maybe like get to the dollar store or get to McDonald's or anything like that.
Would you say the weather has a big impact on that?
Oh yeah, definitely like when it rains or when it's cold outside like it is now, I don't want to do any walking. It's just straight lifts.
What is your worst experience with Lyft or Uber?
um, so I had one come pick me up from the doctor and he wanted me to tell him where to go. But I told him like you have a map on your GPS, like it tells you how to get to me. So anyways, he just kept driving in a circle, driving in a circle. And then when he finally got to me, I got in his car. And I was texting my sister, and then he was like, "Are you gonna report me?" And I was like, "No, what are you talking about?" And he's like, "Are you reporting me?" And he wouldn't drive. He just kept asking me the same question. And then eventually, he was just like, "Get out of my car." And this is like a little bit after he had picked me up, and we just sat in the parking lot, which is weird because I don't know who he is.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Did you still have to pay for it and all that?
It. I had to pay some, but it was only like a couple dollars compared to like the $8 that I was supposed to pay. But it was still money, that I lost and didn't get a ride. So
That's good. Do you have any fears with, like, taking Lyft or Uber?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes on. Like, I've seen a lot of articles about, like, passengers robbing Lyft drivers or like Lyft drivers, robbing passengers, so it's easy to play it off like you're a Lyft driver. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be scary. What else do you have to add about the overall experience, if there is anything?
I definitely say there's a lot of times I regret not having a car because there's a lot of hardship that comes with not having one. Like, especially when you want to go to town, sometimes, like, you can't just go to town because a lift right there would be about $200. So, and just being able to do what I want, it's very difficult when you just have to take lifts everywhere. And then also bus routes as well, like, they take also an extreme amount of time just to get to one place, like an hour or so. So, yeah, it's pretty difficult.
Do you know like the distance that Uber and Lyft will go? I've never actually heard anyone talk about long distance travel.
So I know like medical ones, they'll drive to Indy if they have to. Like they pretty much drive wherever. And I also know this is extremely difficult, like not very common, by the way, is that whenever you want to get a lift, if you want to go to like Indy, I know I know it's like $200 just to get there, but that's just Indy that I know of.
Jeez.
Yeah, and yeah, so the medical ones they pretty much they take you wherever you need to go. Like they do that, but they get paid for it, fairly well, probably better than Lyft drivers as well. Because Lyft driving, like the drivers a ride could be $7 and it looks like that on my end, but on their end um they only receive about like $3 to $4 from that ride. Yeah, so if they're driving out of town, there's no telling how much they receive compared to how much we're paying. Like we could pay 200 and they'd only get 100 back.
Is there really a difference between Lyft and Uber?
No, I definitely say I've had better experiences with Uber than Lyft. I'm not sure what it is, but like when it comes to the drivers, I don't know if Uber's more strict about their policies, but that could cause the difference in between both apps.
So you would prefer Uber.
Yeah, typically.
So do they like use their own cars?
Yeah, but like they have to follow certain codes. So like one driver told me a few days ago that he had an improper engine. Yeah, that's what they said. His engine was not up to date, like it was improper. So I said that he couldn't drive that car. Well, he got another car and they said he could use that, but he said the car that he has now is way worse, like way rough than. And sometimes I have seen this people driving under other people's names. Yeah, that's pretty terrible too because somebody will come to pick you up and it won't be the person, that you're expecting.
That sounds scary.
A lot of times when it comes down to it, it happens a lot more with like people like immigrants typically because it's harder for them to get like, an identity here in America
Yeah.
without having to spend a lot of money.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Oh, wait, now they have a future now where like also I forgot about this. They have a future now to make it more safety for people. Is that like and for themselves, it's like when you get in the car, you have to tell them like typically a 4-digit pin when they pick you up just for their safety, just for your safety.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Definitely good to put safety first.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Hannah. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well.
Ride sharing services like Uber and Lyft have completely changed how people get around. Not long ago, if you needed a ride, you either drove yourself, called a taxi, or asked someone you knew. Now, all it takes is opening an app, tapping a button, and waiting a few minutes for a car to show up. For many people, especially young adults, this feels like the normal now. According to the Pew Research Center, about 36% of adults in the United States have used a rideshare service at least once. That means millions of people trust strangers every day to drive them safely from one place to another. Part of what makes ride sharing so popular is how simple it feels. You can see your driver's name, they even have a rating, and you can even see their car before they arrive. You can watch the car move towards you on a map. You don't need cash, and you don't even need to think about directions because GPS handles everything. All of this creates a sense of control and convenience that older transportation systems never offered. There are real benefits to using services like Uber and Lyft. In many places, especially suburban areas or even late at night, taxis are really hard to find. Rideshare apps make it easier because they're available almost any time of the day. They can also make situations safer. Researchers have studied whether ride sharing services reduce drunk driving, and some studies suggest it does. A National Bureau of Economic Research study found that in some cities, alcohol related driving incidents decreased after rideshare services became more widely available. This idea is easy. If people have a way to get home, they are less likely to risk driving themselves. Another reason ride sharing became popular is flexibility. Drivers can work whenever they want, whether that's a few hours after school or full time during the week. For many people, that flexibility creates extra income that they never had before. But while ride sharing offers a lot of convenience, it also brings risks that people don't always think about. One of the biggest concerns people have about ride sharing is personal safety. Uber's US safety report from around 2021 and 2022 recorded 2,717 reports of serious sexual assault on its platform. Lyft's safety transparency report listed 2,651 similar incidents to these between 2020 and 2022. Even though these numbers represent a very small portion of the billions of rides completed, they still equal thousands of real situations where a real life person was harmed. Researchers have noticed patterns in these cases. Many of these incidents happen during late night rides where passengers may be alone or leaving social events. Studies by Consumer Notice and IPS News show that younger riders, especially women between ages 18 and 29, appear more frequently than others in these cases. Another very important issue is that experts believe many incidents are never reported. Some people may feel uncomfortable speaking up, or unsure about how to report, or afraid maybe nothing will change. Because there is no national database tracking rideshare crimes, much of what we know comes directly from the company reports and journalism investigations. However, it's not just the riders that face risks. It's easy to focus on only the passengers. Rideshare drivers often work alone and pick up strangers throughout the day or night. Unlike traditional taxis, most rideshare vehicles do not have protective barriers that separate drivers from passengers. This makes drivers very vulnerable to robbery, assault, or even carjacking. Company safety reports showed dozens of fatal physical assault incidents across both platforms in recent years, and many of those were drivers. This reminds us that ride sharing requires trust from both sides, not just passengers, but the drivers too. Another topic that is brought up is how ride sharing affects traffic safety overall. Some transportation research shows that rideshare growth may contribute to about a 3% increase in traffic fatalities nationwide. One reason is something called deadheading, which is when drivers are on the road waiting for ride requests without passengers. More cars driving around means more congestion and potentially more accidents. People will argue that ride sharing still prevents dangerous situations like drunk driving, while critics say that the added traffic creates new risks. The truth is likely somewhere in between. Part of the challenge comes from how ride sharing works. Drivers are considered independent contractors instead of employees. This means that companies perform background checks and set rules, but they do not actually supervise drivers the same way traditional taxi companies might. Criminologists point out that ride sharing creates a unique situation. Two strangers meet in a private space, which is a personal car, with limited oversight. Safety depends heavily on technology, ratings, and trust rather than actual physical protection. Rating systems help people review each other after rides, but they cannot always prevent problems before they happen. Because of criticism and lawsuits, both companies have added more safety features over time. These include emergency buttons inside the app, ride verification PIN numbers, live trip sharing with friends or family so they can track you, and identity checks that confirm drivers are who they claim to be. Uber has reported that the identity verification system has blocked more than 1 million fake driver account attempts. Lyft has introduced similar tools and now cooperates with Uber in sharing certain safety data so drivers removed from one platform cannot easily move to another and give rides on that one. These changes show that rideshare safety is still evolving as companies respond to public concerns. And that's all we have for this episode of The Highway. Thank you for joining us.